I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I uploaded this video at 2 a.m. It got 27,000 views in 4 hours until the Olympics took it down. I debated not even re-uploading this video, but the breakdown of the game is the same. You'll just have to watch the highlights yourself later. It feels like clear-cut fair use to me, but it's not worth fighting. It's the Olympics. They take everything down. I should have been prepared. So with that being said, let's get into the video. I'm gonna be honest with you guys right off the bat here. I made this video assuming that Victor Wembanyama was going to go off, and that's what this video was supposed to be about. Although Wemby did have a good game, it was a 5'8" point guard from Japan that was the one that stole the show. This game had everything you could want in it: an ejection, an impossible play to force overtime, and like I said, an insane performance from this little Japanese point guard that you have probably never heard of. Meet Yuki Kawamura, or as they actually say in Japan, the surname goes first, so Kawamura Yuki, a 23-year-old 5'8" point guard that plays in the Japanese B1 league for the Yokohama B Corsairs. Last year in that league, he averaged 20.9 points per game and 8 assists, and this has been his dream. Back in March of 2022, when he decided to drop out of university, pursuing a professional career in basketball, he was quoted saying, "My goal is to become a point guard representing Japan and to compete in the Paris Olympics." Well, here you are, Yuki. He had a really good FIBA World Cup last year. Japan would not make it out of their group, going 1-2, but he averaged 13.6 points per game and 7.6 assists. And coming into this game, Japan is the 26th ranked team in the world, with the point spread of this game being -17.5. Japan lost their first game to Germany 97-77. They have one player who plays significant minutes in the NBA, and that is the Los Angeles Laker himself, Rui Hachimura. Yuta Watanabe played for the Memphis Grizzlies this past year in his 5th NBA season. But let's get right into the recap of this game. Team France is 1-0. They beat Brazil 78-66. Of course, Victor Wembanyama is the superstar for Team France, but they also have the reigning Defensive Player of the Year in the NBA, Rudy Gobert. One last thing before we get started: what Yuki Kawamura does in this game is something only 2 other Olympians have ever done since 2000. That was Kevin Durant in 2016 and Luol Deng in 2012. Let's get right into it. Rui hits a jumper to start for Japan. He was great in this game. We will talk a lot about him, but unfortunately something happens with him later on in this game that changes the course of the game for Team Japan. Yuki gets it going early as well with this layup. Japan is up 4-0 before Wemby hits this 3. Rui's feeling it early. He hits another shot here. He went just 4 for 19 in that first game for Team Japan. Victor's also feeling good to start this game. He hits this jumper here and then a deep 3, giving him 8 quick points with a 3 for 3 start, and Team France is up 12-7. Yuki Kawamura has back-to-back 3-pointers, tying the game at 16. He's absolutely electric. He's so quick, and again here, 10 points in this first half. Remember, he's just 5'8" out there. This first quarter especially, he was balling. He has this great assist here, or what should have been an assist, but his teammate cannot handle the pass. This time he will record an assist when Josh Hawkinson hits this 3-pointer. And I was curious about Josh Hawkinson because he played great for Team Japan in the World Cup. He was their leading scorer at like 23 points per game. How does this guy have Japanese citizenship? Well, he played college basketball for Washington State from 2013 to 2017. His senior year, he averaged 15.5 and 10 boards. He would not get drafted in the NBA draft and went over playing professionally in Japan for the past 7 years. Just this last year, he became a naturalized citizen. A really cool story for a kid out of Shoreline, Washington. France hits a 3 to end the quarter, 32-25, and in this first quarter, both teams shot it very well. Like I said, Wemby already has 8 points on 3 for 3 from the field. Yuki has 10, and Rui has 8 as well. None of these players play to begin the second quarter, but with around 6.5 minutes left in the quarter, Wemby, Yuki, and Rui are all back in the game, and France is up 36-31. Rui hits another 3, making it 38-34, and then Josh Hawkinson hits a 3 as well, 40-37. And then Team Japan hits another 3, this time from backup point guard Yuki Tagashi. And if you're questioning if that name sounds familiar, you probably are. He actually made an appearance on the Dallas Mavericks 2014 Summer League team, which at the time was a really big big deal. He would be the Japanese B1 League's MVP in 2019, and he had this viral picture in this game when he was guarding Victor Wembanyama, going crazy on X. Rui continues his impressive half with his turnaround jumper, and Japan is up 42-40. Rui already has 14 points. It baffles me with how bad of guard play France has, how little Wemby will get the ball on the court. He's 4 for 4 at this point in the game with 10 points. And there's plenty of possessions where he just doesn't even get a touch. France is up 49-44 at halftime. In the second half, France's coach decides to go without Rudy Gobert to start it. He will instead rotate minutes between Wemby and Rudy and go smaller versus this Japan team. Josh Hawkinson hits a 3 to tie the game at 49, and then a 3 from Yuki puts Japan up 52-51. Josh Hawkinson had a great game as well. He hits another 3, giving Japan its greatest lead of the game at 4. Here's another example of anyone else on Team France trying to guard Rui Hachimura. It's just not going to work. Yuki Kawamura hits another 3, this one very deep and over Wemby. He actually stunned Wemby. Wemby didn't even go for the block. Japan is up 62-60 with 4:30 left. At this point, Wemby is going to take a rest. Rudy Gobert comes in for the first time in the second half, which is bad news for France because they just lost Wemby's third quarter minutes by 7. But what's even more important in this sequence is that Rui Hachimura gets his first unsportsmanlike foul on him for this bump on Bilal Coulibaly. Make a mental note about that because we will reference it later. With Kawamura on the bench, Japan will finish the quarter not too strong and be down 69-64 heading into the fourth. Rui hits 2 threes immediately for Japan, bringing them back within just 2 points, 72-70. He now has 24 points on the night on 10 for 16 from the field. Unfortunately, on the very next possession, this play on Rudy Gobert by Rui Hachimura gets him ejected from the game. Now, before you go commenting, I know this is FIBA rules. An unsportsmanlike foul is different than our flagrant 1s and flagrant 2s in the NBA. So by the rule book, an unsportsmanlike foul is a player contact which, in the judgment of a referee, that meets one of the following 5 criteria. And just pause it and read these if you really want to know exactly what an unsportsmanlike foul is, but I'm not going to read all of them. This Rui foul does hit on criteria 1, contact with an opponent and not legitimately attempting to directly play the ball within the spirit and intent of the rules. So him grabbing Gobert's arm isn't a basketball play, especially when he excessively holds his arm down and swings it down. So I get it. The FIBA refs are doing their job, but this is an absolutely garbage rule. I hate it. And there's some things about FIBA that I do like. This is awful. A player should never be ejected for this. Gobert was never in danger. And I think at the end of the day, if we're ejecting players, it needs to be due to player safety or disrespect to an official, but nothing else. And so with that, Team Japan loses its best player, its only NBA player that gets significant minutes in Rui Hachimura after a fantastic game. Like I said, 24 points, 10 for 16 from the field, and these 2 unsportsmanlike fouls DQ him from the game, down just 2 with 8:31 to go in the fourth. Yuki pulls up from 3 again, drains it, and gets fouled, completes the 4-point play. Japan is down just 77-76. Yuki now has 20 points on 7 for 14 from the field and 5 threes. Hawkinson does a fantastic job of not letting Wemby bury him, and Wemby misses the shot, and Kawamura just blows by his defender, laying it in, giving Japan a lead 78-77. Hawkinson then blocks Wemby. Maybe it was a foul. Rudy actually gets a piece of his step back 3 here, determined to not have a Luka Doncic type play be repeated on the national stage versus a 5'8" point guard. But then on the other end, Rudy gets blocked at the rim as well. Wemby gets switched onto Kawamura, and I love how he isn't scared at 5'8". He drives with Wemby on him and dishes it to Hawkinson, who finishes over Wemby. Japan's up 3 with a minute to go. Fournier hits this clutch 3 for France with 49 seconds left, but Kawamura gets fouled, hits both free throws. He now has 24 points. And not only does Fournier miss this 3, but on the offensive rebound, Wemby misses a 3 as well. Yuki gets fouled again, making it 84-80 with 16 seconds seconds left. Japan is going to win this one. But no, instead, Matthew Strazel for France hits a 3, and they call a foul on Yuki in the process. Look at this replay. How the heck is this a foul? How do you call this in a 4-point game for the host team France? I'm sorry, guys, but this is an absolute joke. The only place he makes any contact is on the hip of Strazel, but it's marginal. You can tell he doesn't shove him. If you watch it in slow motion, Yuki is merely placing his hand on Strazel's hip. He does not push him. I'm still in disbelief about this foul. It was garbage. Strazel, to his credit, he makes a shot. He makes the free throw. The game is tied at 84, and Yuki misses the step back 3 as time expires. Guys, this would have been the perfect storybook ending if Yuki hit that 3. Instead, we go to overtime, and if you think about it, Japan has now gotten screwed once by the rule book, which I just think is a terrible rule for FIBA, with Rui getting ejected, their best player, with 8 minutes to go, 24 points. And then secondly, on a clear non-foul, he did not get fouled. I don't know how you call that. Yuki Kawamura scored or assisted on the last 12 plays for Japan in Rui's absence. He willed them to that game. They deserve to win. Instead, in overtime, Japan was completely exhausted. This is usually what happens for underdogs if they end up going to overtime. They run out of gas. Wemby gets an and 1, and then he hits a 3 after Kawamura misses this 3 over Wemby. And Yuki just couldn't score in overtime. He does hit this 1-3 late in overtime. It was Japan's first score, actually, of overtime. Their offense was just non-existent without Rui out there. Yuki at 5'8" had to do everything, and he was also running out of gas. And Japan loses this one 94-90. They did make a 3 to make it 92-90, and Strazel would make both free throws. So this is pretty heartbreaking for me. During this game, I didn't know who Yuki Kawamura was, but watching him play, I think he just cemented himself as an icon on the Olympic level after today's game. We'll take a look at the box scores here in a minute, but I want to say that Yuki did have this to say after the game: "We lost the game. I have to get better." Kawamura had 29 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists. And yes, he didn't shoot it great from the field, but he was shooting about 50% from the field before Rui went out. And down the stretch, he was literally their only offense. He had to take shots. Even a bad look for him was still probably Japan's best look they were going to get. If we take a look at Japan's box score here, like I said, Rui Hachimura in 28 minutes, 24 points, 10 for 16 from the field. Yuki Kawamura, 29 points, 9 for 26 from the field, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, and a plus minus of just -1. And then Josh Hawkinson was actually awesome for Japan as well. He played 38 minutes, scored 16 points on 4 for 6 from 3 and 8 boards. And that was pretty much Team Japan's offense. On Team France's side, as you can see here, Wemby finished with 18 points. He didn't shoot it great. After that 4 for 4 start, he went just 6 for 13 from the field, but he did have 11 boards and 6 assists as well. Rudy Gobert had 7 points and 15 boards. And then Matthew Strazel, he's just 21 years old. He plays for Monaco in the EuroLeague. Had 17 points on 5 for 9 from the field, 4 for 7 from 3. But I'll be honest, guys, I'm not impressed with Team France at all. Their guard plays terrible. Bilal Koulibaly barely plays. I was hoping this could be a breakout tournament for him, and it's pretty much on Wemby. I wish they'd run the offense through him more. They just won't get in the ball at different times. We'll see if they can bounce back. They got silver at the 2021 Tokyo Olympics, and they were pretty good favorites to medal. As for Japan, they now move to 0-2. They're not going to make it to the knockout round, which is pretty sad. They needed that win. Not only do they have a bad plus-minus point differential, but in order to make it out of your group, they're going to have to beat Brazil and then hope that one of the best third-place teams in these groups is just 1-2 and has a worse point differential than them. If they win this game, they would have had a great shot to move on, but I have to give props to Yuki one more time. This dude's 5'8", a masterful performance from the 23-year-old, and unfortunately, 2 different things just don't go their way with Rui getting ejected and that awful 4-point play at the end. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be on the lookout tomorrow for a Team USA video. They play South Sudan in a rematch, and at the end of that video, I will be recapping the other games that we have not covered since the last video. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Go look up some Yuki Kawamura highlights in the Japan B1 League. He's actually super electric and fun to watch. Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe, turn notifications on. If you're here at this point, we have a Discord you can join as well. The link is in the description. And as always, we'll see ya on the hardwood.